property on 96 for 30 minutes, and then the relief that you must have felt when the ball went to the boundary before load?
No, I didn't have a care in the world. No, I mean, it was, a nervous time. I mean, I got the score in the last game and thought maybe that was my opportunity, and then, just got to 90s, and the England boys were saying, if you don't get it now, you may never. So, it was it was just a fantastic moment to finally get it.
Those 60 first class hundreds you're doing, they're no help at all when you're 90 success player?
Don't count for a thing, yeah. I guess in some respects it makes it harder because after all this time, you're fully aware how much it means. So to get 100, playing for your country is just it's just a magnificent moment. So just so happy and so relieved I got it.
Your celebration was quite a non-celebration. Was that just the relief of getting there?
Yeah, I'm not a huge celebrator, but I guess after all this time playing a lot of domestic cricket, to get this opportunity is one that I never thought I would, and then to get 100 it's just something that you can only dream of, and I guess you just want to soak it up, and that's probably why I was like that. Yeah.
Chris, did you appreciate the England words? Was that sort of the level of contest that you enjoy with them? They're going to chirp at you.
Yeah, no, they were fine. It's exactly what we'd be doing if it was the other way around. So I think they were quite good, to be honest, in some respects. So and all said, they said well done at the end. So no problem there.
Chris, I'm sure a first test time means a lot to every player, but for you, considering you're a bit older than most to make their first test times, and you've worked so hard to get back into the team after being out for so long, does it have extra significance in a way?
I think so. I can't talk for the younger blokes, but I guess after all this time, you just don't think that this opportunity is going to come up, and you want to believe you're good enough. Well, I wanted to believe I'm good enough, but never known. So to get 100, that's something no one can take away from me, and I can tell my grandchildren about it now.
Chris, was there a time
Sorry, if I haven't.
Chris, was there a time
It was emotional out there, yeah, that's for sure. And it has been, yeah. I mean, initially to get picked for Australia was amazing, but the nerves and the things that go with it, and then the Lord's Test match, that was as low as I've been for a while. Hearing the criticism coming in and feeling like you've let down your country, that hurt. So to play well in the last test and then to back it up in this one, means a lot to me.
Chris, was there a time in the last 5 years where you just said, okay, that's never going to happen, I'm never going to make a test century for Australia?
Yeah. I mean, there's times when sides have been picked and I haven't been in them and thought that that was my chance, but it didn't happen, and finally this opportunity's come along, and I've really wanted to make the most of it, and you can say that, but you still got to go out and perform, and I think it was my day today. There were so many things that went my way, and you just got to make the most of it, and fortunately I did.
Tim?
Chris, you're a prolific run scorer in England and in Australia. I mean, now you've got your Test 100. Can you kind of just describe what that step up in class is like? I mean, what the big difference has been for you?
Oh, well, first of all, the opposition. I mean, you've got four world-class bowlers coming at you. And Swan is as good a spinner as I've faced, I think. So. That's first and foremost, and then all the other things that go with it. The pressure, the expectation, the criticism. The though that kind of emotional roller coaster that comes into it. So yeah, you've got to deal with that the best you can, and in some respects, being a bit older has probably helped me.
Chris, in the context of the game as well, it's obviously important. How important do you think it will be to also go on the game tomorrow?
Yeah, it is important. I think it's hard to judge what this wicket's going to do, but it looked like it was taking a bit of spin at the end. But I think a lead is important. You know, we saw it at Trent Bridge. We got a lead, but it wasn't enough. And chasing's always going to be hard. So, you know, if we can get a decent lead and bowl well, using the new ball well, then hopefully we can put them under pressure and be in a good position in our second innings.
Chris, you said things went your way today. Can you just talk us through what the incident where you actually given out and what was going to be your role?
Well, you know, I guess it's you know when you don't hit it. Well, I think you know you do, but I knew I didn't hit it. He hit my pad. I'd actually asked after my Trent Bridge review what the you know if they give you out for caught behind, but then the LB. So I'd already asked about it, so I actually knew the rule there. So you know when it came up at umpire score, I was pretty sure that I wasn't out, even though the England guys thought I was. But yeah, I mean I actually think it worked pretty well today. I'll leave it at that.
Is Stuart Broad's still the best you faced this year?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, that was an unbelievable spell. The ball seemed to kind of be coming back a little bit, then seaming away, and you know, I thought I was covering the ball, and then it just nipped away. So it was a beautiful spell. Fortunately, I got dropped and played and missed a lot, and you know you need that. I think it's, you know, these guys are top class bowlers. It's you know that they're going to perform. So to have a little bit of luck, you know, I'll take it.
And I was sort of reflecting on what you said there, really. The DRS was kind of part of your nightmare, wasn't it? And yet, if it wasn't for it today, you wouldn't be sat here now. Have you reflected on the irony of that? Are you still, you know, given that contrasting experience?
Not yet, no.
Yeah. Chris, do you sort of think, yeah, that really big Shield season in 607 and Justin Langer retired after the Sydney Test in 07, do you think that your time might have been coming in, that was all going to sort of start to line up for you?
I'd always hope so, but it just felt like there was always one bloke in the way. You know, it was. I mean, it was those two. Then it was Jakesy. Then it was Kadich, and then it was Phil, and then Watto went and opened. So it just felt like it was just always one bloke in the way. But you know, I get to play cricket for a living, and I set high standards. So you know, I've been happy to kind of go along and perform as well as I can, and just hope for this one opportunity, and fortunately it's come along.
Were you disappointed when your partnership with Shane Wilson was in, I suppose, as an opening pair, and also it was interesting to you that you two were the guys that staged the fight back today?
I mean, yeah, in some respects, yeah. I thought Watto and I were doing a reasonable job. You know, it was it's not been easy, but I understand why management wanted Davey to come and open too. So that's not for me to question. My job is just to go out and play as well as I can. And you know, it was nice to be out there when Watto came in, and you know, I thought he batted well. I know he's been working on stuff, and I think technically he looked as good as I've ever seen him today.
So it seemed like Matt Price said something like, well batted, but now it's time to get out, something 300. What was he saying?
Microphones work well, don't they? Yeah. Something like that. I think they were basically saying, you know, it was my day, that I was having the luck, and once I got the 100, well, thanks, Buck. You can push on now. But look, I played with Matty at the Sydney Thunder this year, and we got on well. So you know, it was all good banter.
Chris, when you were in the 90s, 96 with an extended
extended period, were you, I mean, and you kept in your zone, I suppose, were you tempted to have a crack at Swan? And you had a couple that dropped just short of mid-wicket and one that just shaved the stumps. How did you manage to maintain your concentration, and were you tempted to have a crack?
Well, it's not really my game to try and take it on too much. But to be honest, those ones I got leading edge, I was probably trying to hit them too hard. I was trying to hit them, 2, 3, 4, rather than just work one. So I probably did come out of my game a little bit there. But I know that it's not part of my game. But I guess in the end, I had to do something. I couldn't just keep standing there and letting him bowl while I was like a cat on a hot tin roof. So unfortunately, he put one where I wanted him to, and I got hold of it.
Was it going to go anywhere, or did it have to be in the slot?
Can't answer that one, John. Probably straight up the chimney.
Chris, you said before Old Trafford, you felt you needed runs because blokes who don't score runs don't stay in the team. And you said you'd gone away after Lords and really got your head together. Just take us through that process, and do you now feel that you've cemented your place in the side?
I don't know. I know getting 100 can't hurt, but I set high standards and I want to do well. So I'll be putting myself under pressure every time I go out, and I think you have to, and if you don't, like I said, if you don't perform, you get dropped. So as for the other bit, in London, I think it was just a good time to really get away from it. I think if you haven't been in the environment for a while, it kind of, it just kind of gets on top of you, I suppose, the whole sensation. So yeah, I probably just needed to clear my head for a while and realise what it is that I do well, and that's to fight. And fortunately, it's worked since then.